EGM Network.
Treasure Coast Connector. Connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. Treasure Coast Connector is the talk show and online community where we put a spotlight on interesting local businesses and resources, then connect them to you, the consumers in the community. Everyone has an interesting story of why they do what they do. When we learn about what's happening in our own backyard and support local businesses, it strengthens our local economy. For details on the show, links to discounts, promos, past interviews, check out www.tcconnector.com. So now Vero Beach may be a quaint, small town, but we have a vibrant, creative community. We have top talent at Riverside Theater. We have the Vero Beach Museum of Art. We have the Vero Beach Film Festival and the Downtown Friday Gallery Stroll and a number of authors that live here in Vero Beach. And one of them is in the studio with me today. Gage Irving is here to talk about her latest book, Everything in Vero Beach Was Eaten. She has another book that's soon to be published. And, Gage also is an inspiration, and we're going to talk about this part a little later. Many years ago, back in the 80s, she suffered a near-fatal accident and had a severe brain injury, but she rose above it and has been thriving ever since. Welcome to the show, Gage.
Thank you very much, Ellen.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you are here. Yeah.
I'm happy to be here, too.
Yes, absolutely. And before we start talking about your books, okay, I would like for you to just share with everyone why you wanted to be an author.
Well, years ago, I was a poet, and I made nothing but poetry, and I won a couple of awards doing poetry, but then I became a musician, and I forgot all about it.
Okay.
And then when I had the brain injury, eventually my brain was into writing. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I started to write a story called Toxic Turkey. And right on now it's hold. But anyway, the book, Everything in Vero Beach Has Eaten, is a short story. It's not a book.
Right.
And the other book that's on there should be out in about 2 weeks. Just so I'd mention that.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And I also love, now you and I have known each other for a while. We met through Janet Searsant of La Maison Publishing. She is your publisher.
Yes.
And so what I like when I ask people, why do you do what you do, right? I always ask that as the first question on this show. And I loved that you said that when I started writing, I couldn't stop. And you just have all of these just stream of consciousness kinds of thoughts. Yes. and we're going to get into that also a little bit about your process. Okay, so now what I want to know about, what we're going to talk about next? We're going to talk about the book you're getting ready to publish, which is Devil's Dilemma.
The dilemma.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit. What I want is, I liked how you described it, and I'm glad I haven't read it because I don't want to give away too much. But what was your inspiration behind this? What is a little bit about the story that you can share?
Well, I have to put a proviso on there because usually when I write a book, I have the ending in my head.
Okay.
And then the rest of the plot line come up to that ending. However, with Devil's Dilemma, it was a reversal on my own self. And I decided I'm going to start to write a book without a plot at all. And so I just come up with a scene, which I did. And then I said, well, the plot will grow from there, which it did. And eventually it became The Devil's Dilemma, which it turned out to be, in our mythology, the devil Lucifer was tossed out of heaven because he wanted to sit on the throne with God, and God didn't appreciate that.
Right.
And so he gave Lucifer a different job. He tossed him on earth to bother us.
Yeah, to rule over us. Yeah.
To divide us and make more difficulties for us as human beings. Anyway, all those hundreds of years, he was a high angel. He was a seraphim, generally, and he was lonely. Talking to humans to him was not very much fun. He wanted to talk to other high angels, or he wanted to talk to God, which he really did. But all those years, he gets lonelier and lonelier, and he was just he decided that what he'll do is he'll do something with all the powers he had to do something really, really good. With all the power.
Back into God's good graces?
Yes, he thinks that if he does something really, really good with all the power he had, then God will come down and talk to him again. And so he did. He did something wild and really good. However, that thing blew up in his face, and it turned into a gigantic monstrosity. And so the rest of the book is all about the problems from his being good and how it didn't really work out.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm glad that you worded it this way, because we got into a lot of detail, over at the coffee shop. But I have to say that is a really interesting spin on things, because, there's a lot of movies and books about the devil and all the horrible things that he does, right? But now that is a very interesting thought of, here he is on Earth, and he doesn't want to deal with us humans, that, we're kind of silly. We're just...
Well, he was told to do this.
Right.
You don't know how evil he really was. He was just an angel, and he was a little bit,
a little arrogant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he was probably not necessarily evil. He was just told to be.
Okay. And then here he is on Earth, and he's like, I really do miss God. I think I made a mistake. So, and he tries to talk to him, and God is like, listen, I am just done with you, So I thought that was a very unique, right, Cindy? That's a very interesting concept and spin on the devil and the antics of now what he's doing to try to get back into the good graces.
And I will tell you that in this particular book, talk about unpredictable endings, this has two double endings that would floor you sideways. I'm telling you, never seen anything like this coming at all.
Yeah.
I'm smiling about that one.
Well, I love your imagination. And you and I have had many conversations even before deciding to come onto the show. We've had so many other conversations. Okay, so now what I'd like to do is, let's see. All right, so now this is something else that you said, that when you write, you want to get people to think about things in a way that they have never thought about before, and you want people to think better and to feel better from writing your books. So what are you trying to do with your books? Like, what would you like the readers to come away with?
Well, we all live in a repeatingly boring, like we have to go get the coffee and turn a burger or whatever we do for a living. And it's just repetitive, and a lot of times it's boring. And we love a vacation, but in a general sense, if you can find the right book, it's like a kind of escape that takes you into a world that doesn't exist. But if you write it correctly, you can not only go to another place, but you can make your mind expand and accept new ideas. And also, I can't help myself, I'm a moral human being. It may make you change your mind about your moral structure, because in our society right now, our structure is getting a little bit mushy.
Yeah. I know that we have spoken in more colorful ways off, camera and away from the microphones, but because of the FCC, we have to word things a little nicer. Isn't that right, Cindy?
I thought I did well.
You did. You did very, very well. But yes, society is just like things are just going haywire in society. So to be able to escape into a book, but to then come away with other ideas, expand your thinking and maybe be nicer, kinder.
And also kinder at the same time, be more expansive. Try to support the people around you. Try to support the society around you and your own people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't seem that way if you know some of my plot lines, but there's an undercurrent beneath it that lives there, because that's the way I think.
Yes, absolutely. And so, what we'll do is we're going to talk about everything in Vero Beach was eaten after the break. But what I want people to know is that they can find your books on Amazon.
Yes.
So they can go to Amazon and your name, Gage, and we're going to get to your name after in the second half. Gage Irving, Irving. When you go into Amazon under books, authors, Gage Irving, you're going to find all of her books. And GageIrving.com, because I want people to read about your bio. And at this point, Cindy, can you believe it? We're taking a break timely. But if you want to know about everything in Vero Beach was eaten, you have to wait a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's hurricane season. Prune your trees now with Scott Tree Services. Strengthen your trees against high winds and remove broken limbs that could cause damage. Don't get nervous. Call Scott Tree Services.
Enjoy Riverside Theater's Comedy Zone, where the comedy is wild, untamed, and downright hilarious. Come out this Friday and Saturday night at 6 and 8 p.m. for the Treasure Coast's best live stand-up comedy show, featuring nationally recognized comedians with cabaret-style seating and food and drink table service. Warning, you may laugh until it hurts. Kickstart your evening with live entertainment, food and drinks at Live in the Loop. Buy tickets at riversidetheater.com and get ready for a night of non-stop laughs.
Sturgis Lumber is the county's most trusted hardware store. Sturgis stocks stainless steel products, power tools, construction and painting supplies, propane, plumbing, and electrical parts. 4645 US 1 Vero Beach, Sturgis Lumber and Hardware.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats, and chairs in all the latest styles and colors from Tommy Bahama, Lexington, Hooker, Riverside, Universal Coastal Living, Four Seasons, Braxton Color, and Capri. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have hundreds of styles of any patio furniture you need, including a gallery of Berlin Gardens and Bollywood. We specialize in fire pits, outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and replacement cushions. Right now, we're having a huge fall sale with lots of great markdowns and discounts on everything you need for your Florida home, including all pictures, lamps, and accessories half price. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet store directly across the street, filled with lots of brand name closeout and sale items. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I'm with Gage Irving, and she's a local author living here in Vero Beach. We were talking about her books, and we're going to dive right back into this about the next one. And I call it a book. You're saying it's more of a short story. And the title is Everything in Vero Beach Was Eaten. And for those that are watching this, the cover of the book is really cool. And it's the lizard in a leisure suit. And I'm telling this for the people that are listening on iHeartRadio and the podcasts, because they've got to go to Amazon.com.
Look at the picture.
and then there's even a thing where they can read a few pages as well. And you get
and the back. You read the back too.
Yeah, but you, like, with the little sample that Amazon gives you, you get totally absorbed into it, and people are definitely, it's selling well, and I think that's a good thing. But now tell us, like, why did you write this book? What was the inspiration?
Well, actually, I've never written a short story. It's about 55 pages.
It's 60. It's 60. Yeah. I'm almost through with it. So,
I've never read anything short ever. And it came to me one day when I was at the mall, and I was walking in the mall to avoid the heat. It was a very hot day. And I left, and I was walking towards my car parked outside, and I looked down, and on the pavement was a gecko running madly in front of me really fast. And I looked down, and I suddenly had this vision of a Godzilla. In other words, I could see the gecko, since we have so many of them, suddenly all of them as big as a Godzilla. And I started to crack up laughing. I says, what if we had all of those, many, we have 1,500 of them on planet Earth, but we have
different
about
species of lizards. Yeah.
What we actually physically have here is about 21, 22 species here in Vero Beach. Yeah. And if all of them got that big, what would happen to us? Because all geckos, all of them are carnivorous. And so I said to myself, maybe I could make a short story about that. And that's where it came from.
Yeah. Yeah. And, there's a part where, they decided to also go to Downtown Friday. And it was not a fun night, Cindy. It was not at all.
Look, you like them.
Okay. Cindy does not like the lizards, the anoles, the geckos, the agamas, because you have agamas in the book as well. And they're even bigger.
Well, they're the biggest ones we have.
Yes.
So when they all got big, that one got bigger than anyone else. I mean, all the other ones. But I know we went to that wonderful with the band and everything.
Yeah.
It was like on a nice Saturday.
It was a beautiful day. It was a Friday.
Friday. And they have all the booths are up there.
Yeah, all the vendors.
Hot dogs and everything else. Yeah, it was wonderful timing.
They could have eaten the food. They didn't have to go after the people.
Remember, they're carnivores.
Okay, that is true. And it is your story, and it is your imagination, and it is a very good imagination.
And they did it. They could have eaten. They could have eaten the cows, but they're too much. For them, it was too much fur there. They didn't like that.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that. Now I am so grateful that I didn't finish it yesterday, because now I really don't know the ending, because I'm always afraid that I'm going to mess it up and say too much. But you did say before we started that there is kind of a happy ending.
Yes, there is a happy ending.
Okay.
There's a few people that survived.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Okay. Very good. Okay. So
you could be the one that made it through.
Yes.
I mean, there's a good percentage that got through.
I would like to think that I would outwit them. I would like to think that.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So now what I spoke about in the very beginning as I was introducing you is back in 1988, you were a young gal, and you had an accident. You fell head first out of a truck.
Yes.
And you were in a coma for 2 months with a severe brain injury, where the doctors actually were preparing your mom
over and over for
you to not survive this.
Yes.
But you are sitting here in front of me, and you're a Zumba dancer and a line dancer. You and I are already going line dancing this week. And
that's right.
Yeah, we're going to go line dancing.
All sorts of fun that'll be.
I know, it is going to be a great time. So you are really an inspiration, because there are people out there that are either dealing right now with that brain injury that they have had, and their loved ones are hoping with enough therapy and everything else that they're going to overcome. And you were in 2 different bands. You had a career after that. You were a poet. You became an author.
Well,
So what would you like to say to the people that are dealing with
who've
this?
had the odd part about brain injuries is that it's completely different per injury, and the doctors neurologically don't know about the human brain. They really don't.
Yeah.
And so what they thought in my case, that I was going to be dead, or when I come back, I'll be a zombie. Obviously, they didn't have that right.
Mm-hmm.
They also did not know that I would be epileptic for the rest of my life. That was not true. If I did some research, it was just from the scar tissue. But the real point is that whatever, I have injuries. I lost my smell, and I get a little bit dyslexic sometimes. I have a few falling points still from the injury, but whatever injury you had, a brain injury, you must try to rise above it. You know, try to reach out as hard as you can to say no. You just say no and jump as hard as you can above it.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, and you also are a painter. I've been to your house, beautiful home with these gorgeous paintings. Oh my goodness. So I just want people that are listening to be like, you know what? If she thumbed her nose at her diagnosis, I can too. I liked that. You had a more colorful way of saying it again, Gage, but we're gonna be clean. Because you and I are clean girls. We're fun girls, but we can also be clean on this show. We have to be. But also, in addition to the fantastic imagination that you have for your writing and the artwork, the painting that you do, you have a famous relative, an uncle, going back to the 1700s.
Way back.
Who is your uncle, Gage?
Washington Irving.
Yes.
Which he had no children, and so the only thing he had was a brother. Mm-hmm. And I'm a
descendant
offshoot from his brother, who, when Washi passed away, his brother's ongoing family took his beautiful house off
Sunnyvale.
Off the Hudson River. Mm-hmm. He lived there with his family, and then when he passed away, and my mother actually...
Your mom lived there as a child. My mother lived
there. She was brought up there in his house. But when her father passed away, they gave that house to New York.
Mm-hmm. New York, the state of New York, and it's a museum.
And they made it into a what it is.
Yeah.
What it has to be.
And I want people to understand that while he wrote many, many things, most people know him for The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Rip Van Winkle. Mm-hmm. So but we have some young people that may not be aware of that. So when they hear Sleepy Hollow, they think of the movie with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci. But Ricci, did I get that right? I hope so. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I think that's right. And we have 2 minutes left, which means that we're going to take 1 minute. But also, I made some notes as well. So you are also the descendant of Martin Beck. And he's a sculptor and painter from, is it Lidditz, Pennsylvania?
He was very good at it.
Yeah.
He really was.
Aww.
He was my grandfather, and I would look at, I didn't meet him, but I heard through, but it's in my family is just art.
Yeah, art of all types, literary and painting and
the genealogy
sculpting
has left me in a whirlpool.
I was going to say richly blessed, very, very much so. So so now, and then the other thing you're going to put out again, you did have Toxic Turkey out, but that's now taken off, but you've made a few revisions and you're getting ready to put that back out there again.
It's on hold, and it's going to be out in another 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, and that is about families that, deal with, Thanksgiving. Some families, love Thanksgiving, and other families, it's a big mess. And I'm gauging. See the pun? I'm gauging. Thank you. I love my puns, but gauging by the title Toxic Turkey. This is a messy Thanksgiving. And with that, what I'm going to say is thank you so very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you being here, and I appreciate your colorful imagination. And I encourage everyone to go to Amazon and look up Gage Irving and get her books and just get lost in a good book and just detach from all the craziness that's going on in this world and enjoy. Okay, and that's your message. My name is Ellen Contreras, host of Treasure Coast Connector. I hope everyone has a safe, productive, wonderful week. Till next week, I miss you already.